Hello and welcome to Nerds at Night. It's just KidThunderDJ tonight because I'm going to give you guys kind of a quick walk through the new Star Ocean from Square Enix, Integrity and Faithlessness. Now, this takes place between games 2 and 3, which were Star Ocean, the second story, and then Star Ocean Till the End of Time. And it takes place on the planet of Faecreed, which is 6,000 light years from Earth. And the sort of overall story is you're a kind of to blend what they usually do with these games, where there's kind of a mix of fantasy and futuristicness to it. You're just a village defender on what they call an undeveloped world. Your world has magic as well as standard sword and shield fighting, obviously. And while en route to defend your village, you come across this young girl with powers that go beyond what your world accepts as a normal level of magic. And of course, there's two different groups, obviously, as you can see here from the shots from the opening credit, going into space. So obviously, there's the futuristic element here too, because you get caught in a first contact situation between these two, who are trying to both sides try to get the girl. So I'm about I think I'm about 6 or so hours into it. I wanted to pick a spot to record where I wasn't giving away too much about the story. I could run around, take 10, 15 minutes on this one just to show off the combat, show off the visuals, and let you get a feel if the game is something worth checking out. Now, I will say that review-wise, it's been pretty mixed to average. Um, I do say that the Star Ocean games get graded a little unfairly. They've never really been meant to be visual masterpieces more than they've been meant to just be good RPGs. And so, but there are some things I'm going to point out that I didn't like and to be aware of if you choose to go after this game. Okay, so I'm just under 7 hours, but you figure when you take out a couple of hours for running around and grinding, I'm probably 5 hours into the story. I will say pretty fair load times for an RPG. So first, as you can see, we're in the cryptic research facility. Just one of the areas we found, trying to figure out where the little girl, trying to get the camera to center on her. There you are. Try to find her backstory there. I'm zooming in on the main character. Here's a couple of other people. Your party members can be up to 7. It's action RPG oriented, so you have regular sort of just attacks that you can do, but you can switch between characters. The combat system is button meshing for combos. There's also a defense setup in it where you can try to dodge. A couple of things I do like. If you use an item in battle, you can't just spam items. I can't sit there and throw a healing item to everyone because there's a couple second lockout before you can use another item in the game. The skills, I'm still not 100% sure on them. Like the battle skills I get, there are things you can learn by finding books that teach you. Like apparently I can teach him this one here, Red Rain. I think I can upgrade it. Or learn it. Yeah, there we go. So there's a new one for him. And then you actually set the battle skills. And it's more or less a hold down option here. So, he can do double slash or air slash if I hold down square or circle respectively. And there's short and long range because obviously you can run around as a 3D plane. There you go. That seems to be a better fit for him. All right. And then you have these roles as well that, as you can see, as you learn them, they give you more actions. There's attack oriented, situational oriented. defense, magic-based. So they give you a lot of customization abilities you can learn for characters, which is a big, help in differentiating them, especially because I've noticed during the course of the story, you have a lot of players drop in and out on you randomly. So those roles are returned and you can assign them to someone else. So you can continually customize your team so you're not stuck with a group that may be your lower end group. So that's a big bonus. Moving on, they have resources that you can use to craft things. I'm sorry, it's in creation. The other resources item is for, figuring out the synopsis of where you're at right now if you haven't played in a while. Active quests you get off of boards and towns, just like, the few MMORPG elements they sort of stuck in here to keep it current with more modern players. So let's begin. Now, I tried to go through here once. I got a little cocky and got killed, so don't be surprised if it happens again, because you can be seemingly winning in a battle, and if you're not careful, you'll get mobbed, and then that's the end of you. So, run around. Oh, here we go.
Show me what you got.
Now, one thing about combat that gets a little frustrating is it does sort of, if you're not careful, degenerate down into button mashing. Especially, and it usually ends up just being a button mash of 2 buttons, obviously. The timing system for their reversal mechanic, or parry mechanic, which I'll show you again in the next battle we come to, is a little dicey because you've got to time it just right to be hitting it when they attack you head on, and it'll allow you to do a follow-up shot, which will make them dizzy for a second and give you a free hit. I really, in all honesty, don't utilize it much. I haven't seen much value. It's been easier just to brute force my way through. Alright, let's see if we can find something fun. Here we go. As you can see, there's really no such thing as a proper formation here.
We're a bunch of fools who are too stubborn to accept eternal.
Now what I'm doing here is, if you see that gauge on the right, the reserve rush, and that 1 in the circle, that's the level that we build up to. And when we had that 1, you can activate your strong, I'm guessing it's your strongest special attack, because there was one that my main character has that can be activated, and he basically flies up in the air and does something akin to something like a, what the heck do they call it? The Hadoken from Street Fighter, where he just sits there, or the Kamehameha, and just sits there and blasts everybody. Okay, what's that? HP 30, no, 70. He's getting... So here's what I'm talking about, Oh, wow. That hurt. So that's pretty much the exact definition of what I meant by, if you're not careful, you're going to die.
No shelter from the rain of blades. That was maybe an 80 out of 100.
Sorry about that interruption. As we've said before in these videos, we record in our house, so one of our children needed to get my attention real fast. So anyway, or well, my wife's attention, who's down here, I guess I should say. So yeah, as you can see there by what just happened, getting killed is pretty easy in this game. So thankfully I packed for such an occasion, although I don't have near as much left as I thought. Alright, well that was fun. Okay, so let's keep exploring. Can I get down here? No. Okay. I do like the character design. I do think the graphics are decent. They're trying to keep that very cartoony look, which does take a little bit of the sharpness out because, it's such a jarring color palette change. But it's still pretty nice looking. Great, more of these things. Here we go.
Can't get any better than that.
So if you haven't noticed, it's a little bit difficult. It's obviously 2 thumbstick method for moving in and switching the camera. It can get a little bit difficult keeping the action centered. That's another complaint I have, in addition to the kind of up and down difficulty. There's this fact that you can't always see what you're doing. So, whoa. So it just sort of becomes a situation of hoping you're making the right move. And if you don't, hoping you don't die. So we're going to keep exploring through here. I'm going to give this another couple of minutes of play because I really do want to see if I can trigger some other fun events. This is actually, I think, the furthest I've made it in here. Double doors, that's never good. It's almost always a sign there's a boss fight coming soon. Are you a floating orb chest? Yay! Healing device. I don't even know what it is, but it says healing. We need that. Now, I've played the other Star Ocean games before, and except for Till the End of Time, just unfortunately, that sort of came and went before I could really get into it, and then by then, I had kind of wrote it off as not being great because, in all honesty, a lot of the reviews were it wasn't that great. And it does seem like, though, from what I remember reading in the reviews, there's a few things they fixed in this, but the action-oriented combat, obviously I'm always going to be partial to turn-based because that's what got me into RPGs. But I do got to say, it's, other than the graphical problems or the camera problems, it works pretty well in here. I mean, it's simple. You're not doing a bunch of crazy stuff just to remember, you know, like, oh, do I hit up, down, left, right, whatever before doing that to do a special move? You just have it. It's either, hey, I'm close by, so I'm going to do these two moves, or I'm far away, so I'm going to do these two moves. So I'm trying not to reveal too much here in the story, but obviously with a place called, you know, a research facility, we'd run into something talking about researching things. It's kind of hard not to, so. And the story has been interesting so far, and I will say one of the more interesting fights you get into is if you're not careful, you can just find yourself fighting wave after wave of enemies in a attack on a village, and if you don't find the right group you have to beat to move the story along, you're basically just, again, like I said, fighting everyone nonstop. Okay, what's this healing device? Covers. Oh yeah, I'll save that for when we're all about to get blown up again. I don't think I have anything else really that's gonna help, so. Alright, here we go. Combat one more time. Into the breach, dear friends. Back to the main guy. Now you do have basically what equates to, depending on what type of character you're using, mana points or magic points that you use every time you use one of those hold down attacks. But I've noticed that they're a little bit fairer than most RPGs on them. You know, some RPGs you use them once or twice and you're done, and you've got to find some way to replenish it. Okay, save point, and hey, healing stand. Yeah, brother. I think we're going to go ahead and do the smart thing and save, even though I'll probably need to go back and grind out those enemies I missed just to get a couple more level ups in place. But I do want to learn, see if I can learn any new skills before. And lightning bolt, lightning bolt. Always think of that Robot Chicken sketch where they're big melee breaking out in a anime not anime convention, but like a comic convention, and the guy thinks everybody's LARPing. Yeah, see, this is why you shouldn't get married, kids. My wife does anime conventions, and that's why it's stuck in my head. She's giving me that smug haha look.
Really?
Wow, this is a really futuristic kids' playroom.
My toys. My sister.
Did something come back to you, Relia? What's this about a sister?
This is...
An observation room. And judging by the toys, I'd say one used to specifically monitor children.
See, I should build a desk like this for my computer. That would work.
Let me try.
I wonder, why isn't there a single person? Wait a second.
Oh, of course. Here it goes. Here's the trap. Oh, well. That is a trap.
Company.
That escalated quickly.
Fidel,
No one is.
you got it. Can't be the only.
Ow.
Look into that while you're extracting data.
Stop kicking my ass.
No one lives for the And something like that.
Game over. Oh, Anne died. Okay. I couldn't keep them off of Anne. Alright, fair enough. So as you can see, like I said, death can be pretty instant in this game, which, take what you will with it. And that's kind of a nice walkthrough of what to expect play-wise. Like, I mean, there's more to it. You know, there's a lot of side stories to explore with what's going on in the initial village you come from and the sort of kingdom area you're in and what could be happening there. I'm hoping as I continue to play that fleshes out more. But obviously that's the bell, since the, you know, phone for the wife was not turned to silent. One advantage of having your own podcast is she's being respectful enough not to yell at me, but I'm getting glared at. So if the Nerds at Night channel suddenly disappears, it's because she's finally killed me. Anyway, I'm not, to quote Christopher Titus, I'm not at military school. All right. Anyway, I think at 17 minutes this is more than enough to get you an idea of this game. I am going to do another sort of similar playthrough in the next couple of days for Grand Kingdom and see, you know, or at least see if I can get to the same sort of spot. It's a little bit easier with Grand Kingdom because there's not a lot of story to it, so I can just kind of walk you guys through the mission setup and let you see if you like it. All in all, from what I played, it's definitely still holding my attention, which is hard to do for a game. The story can move fast in some parts, so my advice is if you've got local quests to the area, try to finish as many of them as possible. You can still go back and do them, but it's a lot of walking. So I think that's it for tonight's episode. Thank you for joining us. Once again, you can find us here on YouTube, obviously. You can also find us at Nerds at Night and ITE.com, Twitter at Nerds at Night and ITE, or Facebook.com/Nerds at Night. Leave any questions, comments, any games you want to see us play. There is going to be another Kenny versus DJ coming up where, you know, if you watched the last one, you should be able to figure out the game we're likely to do, but if not, we're going to keep it a surprise until closer to time. And another DJ versus Fireheart where I know we're going to play some of the sort of forgotten fighter games. And I know one of them is going to be Justice League for Genesis, and we may dip into some of the others, just kind of go through my collection and see what I got. So anyway, this has been KidThunderDJ.